All right, gentlemen. There has been some Intellivision Amico news. I don't know if you've heard this, but recently, uh, as recent as 10 days ago, Intellivision Entertainment Incorporated has appeared within Delaware. Uh, from some inside sources that I have, because I always got the inside track, there's going to be a restructuring of the Intellivision Entertainment Company. Uh, I'm being told that it's going to look bad, but it's actually a good thing. Um, I don't have the full details. We're digging into it. We're going to find out. But yeah, so in Delaware, and that is the reason, according to my source, why they let the three LLCs lapse, which I still think is a dumb idea because that doesn't close the LLCs. They're still responsible for them. They still got to pay taxes and everything on them in California. If they were restructuring and consolidating and doing things, they should have just closed them down or paid the $20, kept them open until they needed to close them down. Because it's like $250 potentially to get them out of Secretary of State suspended status. But I mean, who knows? Uh, Maybe there is some reason that I don't know, that lawyers know why they did it the way they did. But who knows? But what do you think about that? What do you think about them now being incorporated in Delaware? Thoughts, Gary?
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the benefit of it? I guess because I wouldn't know.
Well, I do know that they're very friendly to corporate taxes. They're
Mm,
very friendly to liability as far as owners of LLCs and stuff. It could be, which is weird because you would think they would have done it outright. You know,
mhm.
because a lot of companies incorporate in Delaware for the taxes and everything, and I believe they have a weird loophole where you actually can pay the Delaware tax in lieu of paying taxes in other places, even if your product is being sold somewhere else. So, like, you could have a company that's selling products in California, but then pay the Delaware tax because you're incorporated in Delaware, which is cheaper than the California tax, and then not have to pay the California tax.
And it's probably considerably cheaper too. I mean, California is like one of the highest, isn't it? At
Yeah.
like New York and in California.
Mike Garcia says, "Why didn't they do that from the start?" No idea. Maybe the only thing I can think of, and it is pure speculation at this point, but the only thing I can think of is perhaps they just wanted to be in California because that's where they were. They weren't really making anything or selling anything at the time. And now that they are prepared to move forward with actually selling a product and making money, uh, they're going to be in Delaware so they can pay cheaper taxes. And perhaps California has some sort of break for them, since they weren't making money. And because there's all kind of business loopholes. So there might have been a loophole where, hey, if we start off in California and we lose a bunch of money, we can recoup taxes that way, and then incorporate in Delaware and then start selling product and get through a tax loophole over there on that. Again, speculation. I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying this is a possibility. Beef jerky, yeah. Tommy does live in Cali. That could be another reason. PO Box Christmas says sounds like they're looking to avoid legal charges. Uh, no idea. Uh, Atomic Age Gamer says, "Yep, there's a reason the term Delaware LLC is a thing." Exactly. Escape from Cali law. Yeah. So who knows? I'm being told it is not. This is not the death of the company. This is not their death throes, but actually, it is a good thing. Yeah. Atomic Age Gamer says maybe they needed to be incorporated in Cali to get the technology grants, loans. That's a possibility. Like I said, maybe because they knew they were going to lose money at the start, and being in California was better for losing money and getting loans and grants and everything. And now that they're selling stuff or getting prepared to sell stuff, potentially, they go ahead
Yeah,
and incorporate in Delaware.
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
Uh, there's always a method. Uh, there's always madness too when it comes to Intellivision. So uh, we'll see how that goes. Potentially, though, I've been waiting. I've been holding back on information because I've been waiting for Retro Bro, who was just on the show. He was supposed to make a video. He was supposed to make a video rebutting the ToeJam and Earl stuff that I had presented, and he just never did. He just never got around to it. So I guess I might as well just go ahead and say the stuff that I needed to say.
Unleash the beast.
Unleash the beast. Yeah. So let me pull it up in private here, because like I said, I don't show people's DMs and stuff. So the man I spoke to, his name is Nap. He works for Human Nature. Human Nature, I think I don't know how to pronounce it. I think they use that N for both human and nature. But anyway, he's who I spoke to. Let's see. Yeah, he did confirm that it was not going to be a new game. Like I said before, it was going to be a port of Back in the Groove. He says they're not holding anything against Intellivision. It's not really uncommon for projects like this to fall apart. He says where and when it stopped, the communication isn't really important, and it's easy for communication to get mixed up, especially when you're juggling a billion things. So no hard feelings. He did go on to say, though, if we see ToeJam and Earl in an ad for Amico or something, we will reach out again and ask why. But other than that, we kind of left it where it is, and it's all groovy. So, like I said, as of right now, there is no ToeJam and Earl in any form going to be on the Amico. If they advertise it as such, obviously they're going to reach out and be like, hey, you can't do that. Yeah, Genovi, I did see that they publicly addressed this. That's where this all started, because I went ahead and presented the publicly available information that Human Nature posted, as well as some things they told me in DMs. And then Retro Bro came out on Twitter, said, hey, you still got some things wrong. I'm going to counter you. And then all the drama happened, and then he never made the video. So this was just a little bit that I was holding back, because I always hold back just a little. Just because in situations like this, people are going to try to refute you or try to come up with something to claim that your story is not true. So you hold a little bit back. So when they say something, you could nail them on it. Like, well, actually, I was prepared for that because this is what they said. Beef Jerky says Retro Bro had to eat crow. It's got a lot of protein, so he'll be all right. He says it's rare you get indie devs like us to communicate about this stuff, but it's just our MO. We like transparency. So Human Nature is very transparent. He says that the reason that they went radio silent was probably because if they reached back out, we would have to make a decision to reform the team and see if it's worth it. We never said we aren't interested in this anymore, although that would be difficult now since we're all busy on other stuff. So like I said, they had talks, and then Intellivision just stopped reaching out to them. It's just a communication, complete breakdown.
I wonder why that happened.
Like I said in the other video, they had when Human Nature first approached a project, they had an idea of what they wanted to do, but they weren't sure that it was possible. So they needed a dev kit. They're like, we need a dev kit so we could try to test these ideas out. Because if they signed a contract, like if you sign a contract saying you're going to make a game and you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then later on you find out, their hardware can't handle that, it doesn't really matter because you said you were going to do it. So now you got to either figure a way to do it or fucking, break your contract and potentially get sued.
Yeah, I see now. Yeah, that makes sense.
And he says Tommy wasn't working directly with us. So they weren't speaking directly to Tommy. So that might be why Tommy was confused. Maybe, again, I don't know the structure of the company, how Tommy's given information, if there's reports that he has to read through or whatever. He might have just been like, "Hey, how's that ToeJam Earl thing?" And they might be like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Tommy." So Tommy just took that as it's still going. And he might not have been privy to the actual conversations as to what was happening because he was not the point man on the discussions.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, so like there really is no one else that would know about this other than Greg, and he's working on 2 other projects at the moment, not ToeJam Earl related. So yeah, so Tommy didn't handle the negotiations himself. They went through somebody else. He didn't say. I didn't ask who, but I'm assuming it probably was Phil Adam or John Alvarado potentially, depending on what aspect they were going over. But it's not happening. There's going to be no ToeJam Earl. Realistically, I don't think it was that big of a franchise to begin with. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, it's going to be the system seller." That's a system seller potentially. I don't really think so. Back in the Groove didn't really make that big of a wave.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the original ToeJam Earl was a fantastic game. I think the art style and the way what they did with the Back in the Groove really didn't excite me, and I kind of skipped it. I didn't really care about the digital, and they even had the physical came out on I think it was limited run, and I skipped it. It just didn't appeal to me. Not like the first one did. The first one is fantastic. If you if you want to go check either one of them out, I'd say go and definitely check out the first one for Sega Genesis. Is by far is amazing. I think the graphics and the style and the way they did that one was perfect. But yeah, in the Groove didn't do it for me. So
yeah. Atomic Age Gamer says, now I'm curious about Dolphin Quest. Was that actually co-developed with Intellivision, or was that exaggerating by Tommy? I think that was exaggerating by Tommy. Again, I know DJC has recently made a video about it, saying that, and in the comment section, someone asked if that footage was actually the Amico footage, and DJC says, according to his inside source, that was Amico footage. But I will remind everybody that when they played the trailer for Evel Knievel the first time, they used footage from the actual mobile game trailer, and Tommy was still claiming that no, that was actually running on Amico hardware, when clearly it was the exact same footage to promote the game when it was on mobile, as well as the Sesame Street footage, which was the web footage for the trailers.
And they also did there was a VR racing game, I think.
Yeah.
They used that footage too, and that wasn't Amico footage. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's the only time they've done it. So there's a good chance.
Yeah, there is a good chance that footage was not running on Amico hardware. It was running on something a little more powerful, because it does look really good. As far as it's one of the best looking games that they've showed. But I did reach out to Ed Annunziata, the guy behind Echo in this game. Like I said, I'm waiting to hear back from him. He was really happy to hear from us. He was really excited about the questions we sent him. He's just busy, so I can't expect him to answer us, within a day or whatever. But we should be hearing back from him soon. So we'll see how that goes. Genovi says, why did talks end? One guess, money. I'm not sure it was money. I really think in this instance with ToeJam Earl, I'm really convinced that it was the lack of dev kits. As we know, all the way up to when they had Space Strikers, I think that was in 2021, they still didn't have any dev kits. They were using Xbox controllers because they couldn't make enough controllers. So if a game like ToeJam Earl, which was going to be heavily reliant on using the controller for the new features, and you don't have controllers to give the devs, it's going to be really embarrassing, right? So they probably were like, just don't reach back out until we got the controllers, and they just never had enough. And so they never reached back out. Joshua Snyder says the Dolphin Quest group was already planning to develop and release a new title. Tommy just spun it to fit his weird definition of exclusive. They've been working on games, dolphin-related games, off and on for a while. Ed is really passionate about the ocean and dolphins and saving the earth and environmentalism. So he's been trying to get back into it. Like I said, he had that Kickstarter for the Big Blue. They were supposed to do one for the Little Blue. Neither one really came to fruition. I did ask him about both of those, and as well as whether or not some of those ideas may be incorporated in the new Dolphin Quest. Mike Garcia says Intellivision Entertainment is a publisher and don't want them talking. No, I don't know about that. They don't want anybody talking. I don't think Intellivision wants anybody saying anything about anything, to be honest. Extra Sanderson says, I wonder what the other human nature projects are. The last one was a family-friendly card game that was crowdfunded. I don't know. I'm curious myself. And personally, I never liked ToeJam Earl. ToeJam Earl was always one of those games and you would start playing, like, this is going to be a fun game. It looks nice. It's going to be fun. And you play it for about 15 minutes and you're like, this game is lame. Why am I playing it?
What?
What the hell? I didn't like
Tony,
it.
you're fired.
I didn't like it.
It's a fantastic game. It's a hard game. There's plenty of times. I think the last time I actually popped it in and played it, I was destroying the game all the way up until level 20, and I got my ass handed to me, and that's it. It's one of those games that you can, especially when you get good at it and you know what you're doing, you can really dominate the entire game, but it all comes down to whether you get lucky or not. It always ends up being you have the nerds chasing you, or the lady with the shopping cart, and they just kind of all surround you at once, and you get the moles digging and taking away your items, and then it's game over before you know it. But it's a really challenging game. There's something about it that I absolutely love. I think it's a fantastic game, but to each his own, I guess.
Atomic Age Gamer says, I suppose that could be true. Maybe they put in some Amico-specific feature like that Invincible Pod in Rigid Force Redux. The pod in Rigid Force Redux was already in the game. What they did was they allowed the second player to control it. It's just an option. If you ever played like Gradius, where you get the upgrades and then you get the extra little mini ship that's invincible, but it shoots bullets out. That was in Rigid Force. I forget what the hell the original name is, like Rigid Force Alpha something or another. But that was already in the game. The Amico version just lets the second player take control of that. The same way like in Sonic and Tails, where Tails is in the game, he follows you around. But if you plugged in a second controller, that person could play Invincible Tails, and the game is just basically easy mode at that point. Peel Box says, what about the Tron game for Amico? I feel sure that isn't happening, but I haven't seen it mentioned. I know Tommy's a big Tron fan. I don't think there's going to be a Tron game. I think there's going to be the game based on Tron, like the, what was it, like Deadly Disc? I think it'll be like Intellivision's Deadly Disc, but without any of the Tron logos or anything slapped on it.
Right, and I don't think it'll be Light Cycle, because Light Cycle is basically what Snafu is, so...
Yeah. Atomic Age Gamer says, when Dolphin Quest comes out on other platforms, will Intellivision be the publishers? No, I don't think so. I don't think they are. Because I think Intellivision will be the publisher for the Amico version, and then they'll have some other publisher for the other versions. I've seen games where they have like 6 or 7 versions, and then you got like 2 or 3 different publishers, and you got a publisher when you're in Europe, then the publisher for the US version, and then like the fucking Japanese version gets another publisher. So it's not uncommon. It's not like a thing. Usually it's indie games and smaller games, not like mainstream, AAA games. They usually just have the one publisher because fucking, they handle everything. Mike Garcia said, did Bro confirm a soft launch in March? I don't think he did, and I don't think it's happening. I am 100% convinced if there was any sort of work being done on the founders editions, if there was people in the offices, if they went to Home Depot and picked up a bunch of my, countrymen and put them to work, I think we'd have pictures of it. I think Tommy would be bragging how he's got people hand assembling them, and they'd be like a Willy Wonka segment, Tommy dancing through and watching people assemble shit. But we haven't got any of that, so I don't think it's happening. Thoughts on this, Gary?
I mean, I'd like to think that they've taken our advice and kept quiet, but we both know that that's not happening. So yeah, I agree. We go over this probably every week, and I'd say that it doesn't look like they're in production right now. My guess is, around maybe April, May is about the time that they should be going into production. But obviously stranger things have happened with them. Obviously we discussed that they definitely need to get this thing out this year. But I don't think anything's in production right now, and I don't think you're going to see anything coming by March or April. So just buckle up.
We barely got pilot plastics last month, so. Atomic Age Gamer says, yeah, we'd be seeing production photos. Exactly. We'd have something. He would be bragging. There's no way he would keep his mouth shut. Because this wouldn't be bad news. This wouldn't be like something where you could spin. I couldn't spin this in any way if he was like, hey, here's people assembling the Amigos in the factory, right? You can't spin that. Other than saying, well, it took long enough. Damn, it took you long enough, but it's still doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Peel Box Christmas says, I think I remember it being listed by Intellivision as an actual Tron game, but that could be placeholder title. The Intellivision Amico Wikipedia page is just, it lists anytime Tommy's looked at a game or held up a game that potentially might be on the Amico, they just listed it. It's got like 100 games that are listed that maybe Tommy said, maybe. Would that be something? So, unless you see it on the actual website, no, it's not. It was never announced. Peel Box also says, so what do you think will come of this? Will the Pro Amico side acknowledge ToeJam and Earl is dead or keep the whole maybe narrative? I think they're going to keep the whole maybe narrative. I think they'll continue to say, well, Tommy says it's still a possibility. And as I said before, everything is a possibility, right? Skyrim is coming to the Amico, possibly. Wouldn't that be something? He's really good friends with
Carl would be happy.
I think, and I was talking to somebody, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they had mentioned, we were discussing this whole situation. I said, if Tommy did talk to they talked to the ToeJam and Earl team, and there's a possibility, again, speculation, there's a possibility that he did it with the intention of saying, well, we're in talks with him. See, I'm not lying, right? And we are working on a game, and just never contacted them again, knowing if I don't contact them, the game is not canceled. So technically, I could still promote that the game's coming, right? Legally, I'm covered because I never formally canceled the project with the team. This could be a situation where he's done that with several games. He reached out to somebody, Mike Kennedy, if you remember from the Coleco Chameleon debacle. He reached out. He said, we were in talks with Konami and stuff. And his talks turned out to be nothing more than emails that he sent them. And they sent back, oh, yeah, don't worry, Mike. Yeah, just make the console. Sure, we'll talk about getting something on there. So, if I call up, Disney right now, I just call their number. Technically, I'm in talks with Disney. I say, hey, Disney, I got an idea for a new show. And they hang up on me, right? I can still say, technically, we're in talks. Technically. So, you got to watch all those weasel words. You got to watch what people say, especially when it comes to Tommy, because, he'll say something with an intention, with an implication. And when you go off the implication, he'll say, well, that's not what I meant, because I literally didn't say that. I literally said X, and you're implying Y. And I didn't mean to imply that. That's on you. I think that does hurt the company, but like I said, in this situation, if they were developing something, if they had consoles being manufactured, there's no way to spin it other than it took long enough. Atomic Age Gamer says, "Yeah, people can be technically truthful while simultaneously lacking candor." Yeah, he's the most transparent CEO ever that doesn't tell us anything.
Yep. It's just the runaround.
Someone's asking, "What is Mr. Beefy listing?" Beefy's letting us know what's going on with the the Royal Rumble, female Royal Rumble. I think there's two of them. There's a male and a female now. It's placeholder CEO. We might be getting a new one with the restructuring of the company and the incorporation in Delaware. Who knows? Maybe we get a new CEO. Maybe they're finally going to put me in charge of the company and let me do what I should have been doing for a long time. Other than that, I really don't got nothing. No other news. Anything that you guys can think of going on in Amico land that we need to cover before we move on?
I don't think so.
No, not really.
All right, we'll move on.